My phone rang, and the caller ID showed Carol, Olivia's mom. We've always gotten along great, she's practically adopted me as a son. I answered, cheerful, "Hey, Carol, what's up?" But her voice, it was off. Something was definitely wrong. "Hi honey, how are you doing?" she asked, and I replied, "I'm good, just hanging out at home." Then she dropped the bomb, "Wait, you're at home? Why aren't you in San Diego with Olivia and everyone?" I froze. My heart started to race. "What do you mean?" "Olivia's on a girls' trip with Chloe and Hannah," I stammered. There was this pause, a long, agonizing beat of silence, then Carol's bewildered voice, "A girls' trip? Honey, it's a couple's vacation. Olivia told me you couldn't make it because of work." The phone felt like lead in my hand. My mind was reeling. Couple's vacation? I'd spent the last 2 weeks watching Olivia get excited, helped her pick out dresses for the clubs, even drove her to the airport just Friday morning. I remember telling her, "Text me when you land. Be safe. Have the best time." She kissed me, "I will, love you so much." And I believed her. She'd mentioned it casually, over dinner, 2 weeks ago. "Hey, babe, Chloe, Hannah, and a few of the girls are planning this trip to San Diego. Just need to get away, some fun in the sun," she'd said, cutting into her chicken. I'd smiled, genuinely happy for her. "That sounds awesome. You definitely deserve a break." She'd been working long hours, so a weekend with her friends? Perfect. "You're not invited, though. Strictly a girls' thing. No boys allowed," she'd added with a laugh. And I laughed too, completely unsuspicious. "Have a great time," I'd said. Seriously, the thought of anything else never even crossed my mind. But now... "Carol, I'm confused. She specifically told me it was a girls' trip, no guys invited," I managed, trying to keep my voice steady, though my hand was shaking. "No, that's not right at all," Carol said, her voice now filled with concern. "Chloe and her boyfriend David are there, Hannah and her husband Ryan. And I thought Olivia said her friend Ben was coming too." The name Ben. When she said it, everything inside me just went cold. Ben. Olivia's ex-boyfriend from college. They'd dated for a year before we got together. She always insisted they were just friends now. I'd met him a few times, at parties. Never liked him. Always felt like he looked at Olivia in a way that was not just friendly. But I'd pushed those thoughts away. Because I trusted her. Ben? Her ex-Ben? I asked, and even I could hear the sharp edge in my voice. "Well, yes. I mean, they're friends, so I didn't think it was strange." "But wait, she told you it was girls only?" Carol asked, now sounding horrified. "Yes, Carol. She specifically said girls' trip, no boys allowed," I said, pacing around our living room, my blood pressure skyrocketing. "Oh my God, I had no idea." "I'm so sorry," Carol stammered, genuine shock in her voice. After we hung up, I just stood there, the silence in the apartment deafening, trying to make sense of this new, impossible reality. My girlfriend lied to my face. She was on a couple's vacation with her ex-boyfriend. And I'd been completely clueless. Then, like a lightning bolt, I remembered Olivia had left her iPad at home. The one synced to her iMessage. I'd never snooped. Never felt the need. But right now, I needed to know the truth. I grabbed the iPad from our bedroom, my hands trembling. Unlocked it. Opened iMessage. And there it was, a group chat called San Diego Babes, about 6 people in it. I clicked. My heart pounded against my ribs as I scrolled, reading from the beginning. The messages went back about a month. And right away, the girls' trip facade crumbled. "Can't wait for this couple's retreat. It's going to be so romantic, Chloe had written. Do we have the villa rental confirmed? I want to make sure there are enough rooms for all the couples, Hannah had added. And then I saw Olivia's messages. Yes, villa is booked. 3 bedrooms, so we'll have to share, but it'll be cozy. I kept scrolling, feeling sicker with every word. Is Ben really coming? I thought you guys broke up years ago, Chloe had questioned. Olivia's response, yeah, we're just friends now. It's totally chill. And honestly, I didn't tell my name about him coming because he gets weird about Ben sometimes. Easier this way. My stomach twisted. She knew I'd be uncomfortable. So she chose to lie. Instead, messages about booking couples massages. About going to clubs together. About sharing rooms. Ben and I can share the smaller room. We're both singles, so it's whatever, Olivia had written. Single, she called herself single. I nearly threw the iPad across the room. I took screenshots. Every damning message. Every lie. Every reference to this being a couple's trip. There were photos, too. Recent ones from the airport, Olivia and Ben, standing close, his arm around her waist. More from the beach earlier today. All of them, posed as couples. Ben and Olivia on beach chairs, her hand on his chest in one photo. I spent the next hour just devouring it all. Checking her direct messages with Ben. They'd been texting regularly for weeks. Nothing explicitly inappropriate, but definitely far friendlier than I'd ever known. Can't wait to see you in San Diego, he'd written. Me, too. It's been too long, she'd replied. With a kiss emoji. I sat there on our bed, surrounded by the evidence of her betrayal, trying to decide what to do. Part of me wanted to call her right then, scream down the phone. But a calmer, colder part told me to wait. To let her come home. To confront her face to face with all of this. I called Carol back and just started sending her the screenshots. Oh my God, she kept saying, as her phone pinged with each one. I had no idea she'd lied to you like this. I'm so sorry. Carol said she wanted to call Olivia immediately, but I asked her to wait. I need to confront her. Face to face. I need to see her reaction when I show her I know everything. Carol, reluctantly, agreed. After we hung up, I just sat in the darkness, the iPad glowing next to me, all the evidence laid bare. My phone buzzed. A text from Olivia, missing you so much, baby. Wish you were here. The audacity. The sheer, breathtaking audacity of that message, knowing she was probably lying on a beach next to her ex-boyfriend, made something harden inside me. I didn't respond. Just stared at those lying words. And I knew. Everything between us was over. Sunday morning, I woke up after barely sleeping, my mind still racing. 3 more texts from Olivia. Messages about an incredible dinner. About hitting the clubs with everyone. A drunk love you so much babe at 1 a.m. Each message felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Because I knew exactly who everyone was. I could picture her dancing with Ben while sending me these lies. I left them on read. And she noticed. Another message came around 2 a.m. asking if I was okay, why I wasn't responding. The irony. Her worried about my silence, while she was literally vacationing with her ex. It was almost funny. In the darkest way possible. I spent most of Sunday going through more iPad messages. Finding even more damning evidence. A conversation. From 3 weeks ago. Olivia telling Chloe she knew she should probably tell me Ben was coming. But I'd just make it into this big thing and she didn't want the drama. Chloe had asked if that wasn't kind of messed up. What if he finds out? And Olivia had written back, he won't find out. What he doesn't know won't hurt him. We're all adults here. Reading that, it hit me. This wasn't some spontaneous lie. This was calculated. Premeditated. She'd actively chosen deception over honesty. Weeks ago. And justified it to herself and her friends like it was no big deal. More photos in the chat. Planning screenshots from weeks ago. Images of the villa rental confirmation. 3 bedrooms. King beds. Detailed messages about room assignments. Olivia volunteering to share with Ben. Since they were the only singles. That word again. Singles, like our 3-year relationship, our shared apartment, meant absolutely nothing. Like I'd been erased from her life with a single word choice. Around noon, my best friend Chris called. Wanted to grab lunch. I just broke down. Told him everything. He kept repeating variations of what the F*** as I explained the girls' trip lie, the couple's vacation reality, her ex being there, Carol's phone call. Chris is the kind of friend who'd drive to San Diego right then to confront them. But I told him I had a plan. I was going to wait. For her to come home. To confront her face to face. He said he'd be blowing up her phone if it were him. But I needed her to see my face when I showed her everything I knew. I wanted to watch her try to explain away the mountain of proof. We talked for over an hour. Chris helped me think through the practical logistics. The apartment situation. The lease. Who would move out? How to separate our lives that had become so intertwined. After talking to Chris, I felt slightly better. More clear-headed. I started thinking practically about the inevitable breakup. Because that's what this was. No coming back from this level of betrayal. And premeditated deception. I looked around our apartment. Really looked at it. All the shared things we'd accumulated. The photos from our trips. Her stuff mixed with mine. The couch we'd picked out. The kitchen gadgets. A wave of sadness washed over me. Different from the anger. This morning, I'd woken up furious. Now I just felt tired. And profoundly sad. Mourning the relationship I thought I had. Mourning the future I thought we were building. My phone buzzed again. Another text from Olivia. Something cheerful about heading to the beach for their last day. Her flight leaving tonight. Couldn't wait to see me tomorrow. The casual cheerfulness of it. The complete lack of awareness that her entire world was about to explode when she walked through our door. It was surreal. I decided to prepare for the confrontation. Like a legal case. Created a folder on my phone with all the screenshots. Organized chronologically. The group chat, going back a month. Her direct messages with Ben. Photos of them together. That devastating message where she called herself single and volunteered to share a room with him. I even wrote down a detailed timeline of her lies. Every time she'd mentioned the girls' trip to me. Every fabricated detail. I knew she'd try to gaslight me. Minimize it. Blame me for snooping. I'd read enough Reddit relationship posts to know exactly how these confrontations went. The cheater always tries to minimize, deflect, blame. Anything to avoid responsibility. Sunday evening. Another call from Carol. Checking in. I told her I was okay. Just processing. Preparing for tomorrow. She said she still couldn't believe her daughter had done this. Raised her better. Sounded heartbroken. I asked if she'd talked to Olivia. No, she'd respected my wishes. But she was deeply disappointed. We talked logistics. Carol offered to come over to mediate, but I told her I needed to do this one-on-one first. She told me she was on my side. That what Olivia had done was unacceptable. That meant a lot. I'd been worried she'd defend her daughter. Before we hung up, Carol said something that almost made me tear up. She told me I was a good man. Deserved so much better. And whatever happened, I was still family to her. That hit hard. I wasn't just losing Olivia. I was losing her family. Her parents who'd welcomed me. The future family gatherings. Holidays. All of it. The rest of Sunday evening dragged on forever. Every minute feeling like an hour. Olivia kept sending updates. Photos of the sunset. A video of everyone at a fancy restaurant. In the background of one video, clearly, Ben. Sitting next to her. His hand casually resting on the back of her chair. Intimate. Familiar. She'd angled the camera to try to keep him out of frame. But he was still visible. If you looked carefully. The calculated nature of it. The way she curated what she showed me versus reality. It reinforced it. This wasn't a mistake. Not a misunderstanding. This was intentional. Systematic deception. Planned and executed over weeks. Around 11 p.m., she texted that they were boarding. Home around 2 a.m. Don't wake up, I'll just climb into bed quietly. I responded for the first time all day. Just 3 words. I'll be awake. Nothing else. No explanation. No warmth. I saw the 3 dots appear. Disappear. Several times. She was typing and deleting. Sensing something was off. But not knowing what. Finally, she just sent back, okay. See you soon, with a heart emoji. I stared at that heart. How could she send me that symbol? While literally sitting next to the man she'd been lying to me about for weeks? I couldn't sleep that night. Just lay in our bed, staring at the ceiling. Playing through different versions of how the confrontation would go. Would she cry immediately? Deny everything? Get angry and defensive, accuse me of invading her privacy? I thought about all the moments over the past month. Where she'd lied directly to my face. All the times she'd come home from planning drinks with the girls and kissed me hello. Knowing she was planning this trip with her ex. How she'd let me help her pack. Drive her to the airport. Let me be the supportive, trusting boyfriend. While she was actively betraying me. The more I thought, the angrier I got. By the time I heard her key turning in the door at 2:15 a.m., I was sitting on the couch in the dark living room. Wide awake. Ready. I heard her trying to be quiet. The suitcase wheels. The soft click of the door. She turned on the hallway light. And visibly jumped. Seeing me sitting there. In the darkness. Like some ghost. She gave this nervous laugh. Asked why I was in the dark. Said I'd scared her. She looked tan. Relaxed. Hair still had that beachy wave. Wearing a San Diego tank top I'd never seen before. Probably bought with him. We need to talk, I said. My voice came out much colder than I'd intended. Though maybe that was exactly how it should sound. Her smile faltered. Immediately. Is everything all right? She asked, mentioning my weird texts. I stood up. No. Everything is definitely not all right. Told her to sit down. We needed to have a serious conversation about her trip. She looked confused. But I saw it. That flash of fear in her eyes. Some part of her knowing. Something had gone wrong with her elaborate deception. She tried to maintain the act. Said her trip was great. Had such a good time. Started pulling out her phone. I want to show you all the photos. I cut her off. I've already seen the photos. All of them. Every single one. Olivia's face went completely white. Her voice was shaking now as she asked what I meant. The confident facade. Cracking. In real time. I pulled out my phone. All the screenshots ready. Told her I'd seen everything. The group chat. The messages with Ben. The photos of them together. All of it. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Then managed to say she could explain. Go ahead then, I said. Explain why you told me this was a girls' trip when it was a couple's vacation with your ex-boyfriend. Despite trying to stay calm, my voice was rising. She sat down heavily on the couch. I could literally see her mind racing. Trying to figure out how much I knew. Calculating what she could still deny. What she'd have to admit. She went with the most obvious lie first. Claiming Ben was just there because Chloe invited him. She didn't even know he was coming until the last minute. The lie was so blatant. So easily disprovable. I almost laughed at the audacity. I swiped to a screenshot from 3 weeks ago. Asked her to explain why she'd written about sharing the smaller room with Ben. Since they were both single. Her eyes widened. Seeing her own words. On my phone. Then came the deflection. Just as I expected. She accused me of going through her messages. Said it was a violation of her privacy. Trying to make me the bad guy. I felt the anger surge. You lied to me for weeks. Went on vacation with your ex-boyfriend. After telling me it was a girls' trip. And you're worried about privacy? She stood up. Going on the offensive. Insisting nothing had happened with Ben. That they were just friends. That I was being paranoid. I was almost shouting now. Listing everything she'd done. Calling herself single. Lying to my face every single day for weeks. We argued in circles for another 20 minutes. Her trying to minimize. Justify every lie. While I showed her screenshot after screenshot. She cried. She apologized. She said she knew it was wrong, but she hadn't wanted to deal with me being insecure about Ben. The victim blaming. It was breathtaking. I asked her why she hadn't just had an honest conversation instead of lying and sneaking around. She admitted she'd lied, but still insisted nothing physical had happened. We're really just friends. I told her that even if I believed that, which I absolutely didn't, she'd still destroyed every bit of trust between us. She'd planned this elaborate deception. Gotten her friends in on it. Lied to her own mother. She was full-on sobbing now. Reaching for me. Begging me to forgive her. Saying she'd do anything. That she loved me. I stepped back. Away from her touch. And told her quietly, I don't think you do love me. People who love each other don't do things like this. Then my phone rang. Carol. Calling at almost 3 a.m. I told Olivia I had to take this. Walked into the bedroom. Carol apologized for calling so late. But said she'd just gotten off the phone with Chloe's mother. There was something I needed to know. My stomach dropped. I asked what. Carol's voice was shaking. Chloe's mom had just revealed that Olivia and Ben were sharing a room. That they'd requested a 2-bedroom villa specifically. The 3rd bedroom was for Chloe and David. My blood went cold. Carol confirmed Chloe's mom had made the booking. Showed her the confirmation. It was always a 2-bedroom setup from the beginning. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Olivia had just looked me in the eye minutes ago and swore they had separate rooms. I walked back into the living room. Olivia was still on the couch, wiping her eyes. I told her coldly that her mom had just called. That Carol had talked to Chloe's mom. Who made the villa booking? I watched the color drain from Olivia's face again, as she realized another lie had been exposed. I asked if she wanted to revise her story about having separate rooms. She just stared at me, her mouth opening and closing like a fish out of water, unable to form words. She stammered something about how it wasn't what I thought. We just shared to save money. Nothing happened. I lost it then. Shouted at her to stop lying. To just stop effing lying for once. Even now. Caught completely red-handed. With undeniable proof. She was still trying to lie to me. She started crying harder. And finally admitted, yes. We shared a room. But swore on everything they didn't sleep together. That's when I told her to get out. She looked up at me in shock. Asked what I meant. I repeated it. Get out of this apartment. Right now. Go stay with your mom. Go stay with Ben for all I care. But you need to leave. Immediately. She started begging. Saying she had nowhere to go. It was the middle of the night. We could talk about this in the morning when we were both calmer. I told her she should have thought about that before she decided to blow up our entire relationship. She could come back tomorrow when I was at work to get her stuff. But right now, I needed her gone. She looked at me for a long moment, maybe hoping I'd back down. But I just stared back. Completely done. With her. And her lies. Finally, she grabbed her purse. Her suitcase. Still wearing her San Diego clothes. Walked to the door. She tried one more time. This isn't over. We need to talk about this properly. I told her, yeah. It is over. We're done. She stood there for another moment. Then opened the door. And left. I stood in the silence for a long time after she left. Processing. Everything. Then I did something I didn't expect. Something I hadn't planned. I found Ben's number in Olivia's iPad messages. And called him. At 3:30 a.m. He answered after a few rings. Groggy. Confused. I identified myself as Olivia's boyfriend. There was a long pause. Before he said, "Hey," suddenly sounding very awake. And very nervous. I told him I wasn't calling to threaten him. I just had one question. And I wanted him to be honest. After a cautious okay from him, I asked directly, had he slept with Olivia this weekend? Another long pause. Then he tried to deflect. Saying he didn't want to get in the middle of relationship stuff. I cut him off. The relationship is already over. I just need to know the truth. He sighed. Deeply. Then he told me. Yes. They'd hooked up. But Olivia had told him we were basically broken up. That she was going to end things when she got back. I actually laughed. A bitter, hollow sound that surprised even me. We lived together, I said. We were talking about marriage last month. But sure. Basically broken up. He apologized. Said he didn't know. She'd made it sound like we were done. He actually sounded genuine. And I found myself thanking him. For being honest. Noting that it was more than Olivia had been. I hung up. Sat back down on the couch. Staring at the wall. It was worse than I'd thought. She hadn't just lied about the trip. She'd actually cheated. And then she'd looked me in the eye. Repeatedly. And denied it. Swearing on everything that nothing had happened. My phone started buzzing. Texts from Olivia. Paragraph after paragraph of apologies and explanations. I didn't read any of them. Just turned my phone face down on the coffee table. The next morning, I called in sick to work. Spent the day boxing up all of Olivia's stuff. Carol came over around noon. With coffee and pastries. Gave me a long hug. Helped me pack. She kept saying how ashamed she was of her daughter. While folding Olivia's clothes into boxes. I told her this wasn't her fault. She couldn't control Olivia's choices. We worked in silence for a while. The apartment filling with cardboard boxes. And then Carol said something that surprised me. She'd never mentioned this before, but Olivia had done something similar to Ben. Back in college. Another guy involved in their breakup. I looked at her, shocked. Because I'd always been told that Ben had broken up with Olivia. Carol explained that no. That was just the story Olivia had told everyone. But she and her husband had known the truth. Olivia had a pattern of this behavior. And Carol had been hoping she'd grown out of it. But clearly she hadn't. That information was somehow both validating and devastating at the same time. By evening, all of Olivia's stuff was packed. Stacked by the door. Ready for her to pick up. She texted, saying she'd come get it tomorrow with her dad. I ordered pizza. Cracked open a beer. And finally opened Reddit on my laptop. I'd been lurking on relationship advice subreddits for months. Reading other people's drama. Never thinking I'd have my own story to share. I created a throwaway account. Started typing out everything that had happened over the past 48 hours. I posted it around 9 p.m. Not really expecting much. Just needing to get it all out. Within an hour, the post had hundreds of upvotes and comments. People were supportive. Angry on my behalf. Sharing their own similar stories. One comment stood out. Suggesting I should send the screenshots to everyone who went on the trip. Pointing out that they'd all lied to me. Enabled Olivia's deception. I hadn't thought about that. But the commenter was right. Chloe, Hannah, all of them. Had known. And said nothing. So I did something petty. Something I'm not entirely proud of. But also don't regret at all. I created a group text with everyone who'd been on the trip. Including Ben. And sent a simple message. Thanking them for being such great friends. And helping Olivia lie to me about the couple's trip. I attached a screenshot of her telling me it was a girls' trip. Followed by multiple screenshots of the group chat. Proving everyone knew it was couples from the beginning. Then I muted the chat. And watched my phone explode. Dozens of messages flooding in. As everyone scrambled to respond. And justify their silence. 3 days later, Olivia came to get the last of her stuff. We barely spoke. Just loaded boxes into her dad's truck. In heavy silence. While he gave me these apologetic looks. Before they left, Olivia turned to me. Said she really did love me. That she'd just made a huge mistake. I looked at her. This person I thought I'd spend my life with. And felt absolutely nothing. I told her, no. A mistake is forgetting to text back. Or double booking plans. What you did was a choice. Actually, multiple choices. Hundreds of small choices. To lie to me. Every single day. She didn't say anything to that. Just got in the truck. And left. 2 weeks later, I was doing okay. Actually, better than okay. I've been going to the gym more consistently. Hanging out with Chris and my other friends. Even went on a date Chris's girlfriend set up. Nothing serious. Just coffee and conversation. But it felt good to know I could move forward. Meet new people. Then I got a call from Carol. With some interesting news. She told me Olivia and Ben had broken up. I asked, surprised, how that happened so fast. Carol explained that apparently, once they were actually dating openly and not sneaking around, the excitement wore off completely. Plus, Chloe had told everyone in their friend group what had really happened. And most of them had taken my side. Carol mentioned that Olivia had been asking about me. I told her to tell Olivia I said good luck. Carol laughed. Said I was handling this remarkably well. And I told her honestly. I'd dodged a bullet. And every day, I was more grateful I'd found out the truth. Before marriage or kids made things infinitely more complicated. That night, I updated my Reddit post. All the aftermath details. The confrontation. The confession from Ben. The petty group text revenge. Everything. The post went viral. Over 10,000 upvotes. Hundreds of comments. People asking for updates. Thanking me for sharing. Someone even made a TikTok reading the entire story that got millions of views. Apparently, Olivia somehow found the post. Recognized herself despite the changed names. And texted me furious. Asking how dare I air our private business online. I replied with just 4 words, "Do you mean my business?" Then blocked her number permanently. 6 months later, I'm actually happy. Dating someone new. Who's honest. And communicative. Everything Olivia wasn't. I still see Carol occasionally for coffee. She always apologizes for her daughter. But I tell her the same thing every time. Finding out the truth was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I mean it. Sometimes the worst betrayals lead to the best new beginnings. And I'm living proof of that. Trust your gut, folks. And never ignore those red flags. No matter how much you want to. Looking back, it's wild to think how quickly everything unraveled. It hurt like hell in the moment, but now I see it clearly. Sometimes the universe just clears out what doesn't belong to make space for what does. I'm healthier, happier, and genuinely grateful for the lessons learned, however painful they were. What do you think you would have done in my situation?